What up? It's me, Tom, CannabisIndustryLawyer.com, and we have a wonderful federal cannabis legalization news program for you. It's starting real quick, but of course, as you know, since you're here, this is about policy and an industry that requires you to be 21 plus. So, you've been warned. What up, Miggy?
Chilling noise in the house, dude.
Chilling noise in the house. No, this is a shout out to Chris from Cannabev. It's not showing up. Oh, there, it's a little bit better. But yeah, Cannabev, check out his YouTube channel and Instagram.
And who else we got going? Luke Hughes, Kathy Carpenter. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's another Wednesday. That's how you can tell it's an episode of Cannabis Legalization News. We have some federal cannabis legalization news on the agenda today. 7 stories.
Yeah, first one is hundreds of medical marijuana vape products not approved for inhalation recalled from Pennsylvania dispensaries.
Yep.
So, did you go through this one already? Did you look at it?
No, this is the first one. Let's talk about how who's removed them. The Pennsylvania Department of Health has removed more than 500 vaporized products that are not approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration.
Oh, so it's an FDA conflict.
Maybe. I don't know.
Isn't it always going to be an FDA conflict, though, technically? Because cannabis?
The state's trying to apply a standard that does not exist, it says, but this is out of February 5th, being reported out of Penn News Live, so it's not like it's a BS story.
Yeah.
And it's also the Department of Health released a list of more than 500 vaporized marijuana products with some added ingredients not approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration. And we actually have a list of those products. And so right now there's some salty companies, and we're going to go over one of them, AES Compassionate Care LLC. Youch, that has to hurt. Your Select Fresh Kit Sherbet was so awesome until it was not approved by the FDA, withdraw products containing additives. Let's see who else is in there. Not feeling too good right now. INSA LLC, the Mimosa Vape Cartridge. So there's a Mimosa Vape Cartridge that is an medical cannabis product in Pennsylvania, it appears. Big shout out to the Mimosa Vapes.
Yeah, but sad face to the stores, the people. I mean, again, I'd rather have a list of the actual. What is this FDA conflict? What are these 500 or whatever unlisted approved FDA things, right? Because how can you have FDA approved cannabis?
Well, they said the Department of Health asked all medical marijuana growers and processors to submit information on November 16th of last year, 2021, regarding vaporized products containing added ingredients such as externally sourced flavorings or terpenes. So maybe if you did a carbon subcritical extraction to do a pass for the terpenes first, and then did your rest of your extraction at supercritical and then added back in your own cannabis's terpenes, maybe then you would have been all right. But additive
here, I think the conflict though here is like, so terpenes can be, one natural and also not, right? Like lab created from, like marinol. Marinol doesn't come from cannabis.
Marinol is not a terpene. Marinol is just straight up. That is a synthetic cannabinoid.
Right. I'm saying like this is like something that's synthetic. So you have synthetic terpenes. So
if there's a lot of terpenes might be botanical sourced, and then they do some type of process to get the terpenes out, like vapor distillation or something like that. But then like the terpene might have actually come from the vanilla plant as opposed to the cannabis plant. And not that I really have any cannabis that springs to mind that reminds me of the smell of vanilla. If you guys have a cannabis plant that reminds you of the smell of vanilla, take a picture of it and also send us some nug shots. Dropping those likes and subscribes as well. But the nug shots, that can go to 420binary@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at CannabisIndustryLawyer.com and send us some nug shots, because we can use them then on Name That Strain. We have a Name That Strain today. Spoiler alert. It's from the High Times magazine this month.
Also at that email, send me your memes. I'm tired. My brain hurts.
Yeah.
I can't think of
Send the dank meme to Miggy directly, and then he will share them on our Facebook page, Free THC. That's facebook.com/freethc.
So I'm really just curious though, what is this list of the contradiction ingredients? If it was naturally extracted, I really don't have an issue with this. But if it was, I'm sad that this happened. But if they were synthetic, I'm more prone to be like, okay, thank you for saving the patients, or helping protect the patients, because cannabis really absorbs a lot. you know, in the early days of the activism, you know, I just wanted not to go to jail, you know, and I understood it was medicine to help people. But then I just learned that other people are way sicker than others and are more sensitive to this plant. You know, like there's metals that can be in it, the pesticides that are used. You know, you are what you eat is really a thing. It comes down to you are what you smoke here.
Yeah, and you can control that, but then it seemed like it was a lot of the infused products that they were taking down on the off the shelves. But I didn't know that they had such a wide availability of flavored vape products in Pennsylvania. I guess I should have known better. Let's move on to the news. What else do we have going on? Oh, here's some more federal news. This one is pretty interesting, and I want to report that that is our show notes.
Here we go. This one?
Yeah.
Federal power utility threatens to shut down the lights of a marijuana business after Mississippi relegalizes medical cannabis. And this is from a company based out of Tennessee. Their fear. So the Tennessee Valley Authority released a statement about its federal obligations while cannabis remains illegal under the Controlled Substance Act. I mean, don't you think this could be a pivotal lawsuit or decision, whatever comes out of here?
It very well might, but that's the Tennessee Valley Authority releasing a statement about its federal obligations. Oh my gosh, it's federal obligations. It can't power cannabis in Mississippi from the TVA.
Well, this is another one of those bullshit things about prohibition, right? Like nobody in the Fed was worried about this. Nobody cared. No one would have thought about this, and except for somebody on TV is like, how can we stop this plant? How can we stop prohibition? How can we stop all the the minorities from getting an equal grip? Because this seed will do that. It'll provide everybody an equal start.
Right. But this is exactly the same type of thing that has led to a lot of previous types of lawsuits and kicking outs. For example, you can't file for bankruptcy because now you're, as a cannabis company, as a tier 1 plant touching cannabis company that is trying to derive bankruptcy relief from the trafficking of marijuana, you're not allowed to do that. And so now they're trying to enable the trafficking of marijuana. And again, I use the term marijuana as a clinical defined term under the Controlled Substances Act, not as a pejorative that it actually is. That is one of the things that has, but they're right. And so they're like, all right, well, the federal government's going to be like, all right, well, do we want to use our own power to break our own laws?
Well, that's the thing, though. This could also be important in the sense of like, job 101 out there, like to all the young guys trying to get through life, like, you're going to have P-tests and whatnot. And then as you get higher up in the food chain and make more money, you do less. It's so weird how the higher ups are less checked than the lowers, right? We have to check the minions, even though, because drug testing doesn't prove or prevent anything. I just catch you after the fact, if anything.
Right. I catch a metabolite that is very easy to detect.
Yeah. And then that's the thing about contracts with the government. If you do a DOD contract right away, you're going to be up to the rules of the government. There was a saying in the Navy, in the military, you say you fight for freedom, but you have none. This is part of like structure. This is why, and if somehow this decision, they say, look, you're allowed to, I think it's unfortunate they brought this up, but it could be expediting some, the government to make a stance, right? To say, yes, maybe we should deschedule and reconsider this law. That'd be nice.
They should deschedule so that they don't have to have these types of statements. And they have, let's go to the type of statement that the TVA actually released. They put out statements last week saying it cannot use any federal resources for the cultivation and distribution of marijuana, including for legal medical use in some states. The statement was very technical.
Well, here's another thing too. Mississippi, right? Where's all the legal cannabis coming from before that? The federal legal cannabis.
Well, all the illicit grows. I mean, they're all breaking the law when they're using that power to grow legacy market stuff. No,
I mean the university that's been supplying the 15 federal patients. That's where cannabis is coming from.
But then that's different. That's because they are expressly authorized to have that type of allocation in the budget, and so that doesn't break those types of laws.
That's such a bad. I mean, it could be this could be a really big deal, I think, when it comes to like legal standing. It'd be interesting to see. And unfortunately, Mississippi's still plagued by prohibitionists. It's still an area of extreme racism. I see a lot of snowflakes that get all, triggered when I talk about it, but it's a real thing, right? Like the little girl that had to get walked into school with federal agents is still alive today. You know, we're celebrating Black History Month, and I'm watching. You know, I wish I knew more about history when I was younger. Then I'd be more mad. I mean, I was already mad as a young man, but then you learn about the names that have been erased and the stories that have been reconfigured. You're like, we've been so fucked. You know, this whole rethinking, like, what is CRT? CRT is about history. That's all it is.
CRT.
That whole bullshit, critical race theory bullshit.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Let's avoid avoiding that topic news.
Well,
let's move on to something else.
Well, hey, Flower's still king.
What's that?
The newest story. This probably be like a.
Well, let's utilize a bumper in here because this one, I don't think this is our trending one of the week, but this one was definitely this. Flower's still king.
I would have been no Sherlock, but
no Sherlock news. In ironically usage of bumper of shit that we weren't expecting news, Flower still remains king in the United States marijuana market, though supremacy is waning.
I don't think this will ever, every year it's the same goddamn headline. Flower is always going to win, right? Because what does all of your favorite things come from?
They're all flower. Flower is about 50% of the market whenever you like look at data from, the guys that publish data. You're like, oh, that's interesting. Actually, it says flower and pre-rolls are 49% of the market, according to this New Frontier data from 2021 on the evolution of the cannabis consumer. So it was only 49%, but yeah, it's about 50% of the market.
Yeah, I mean, flowers are everybody's first experience. I think the only thing that's going to be a competitive, edibles, because people just want to learn how to ingest. It's still medicine they're using it as. Not everybody's taking it as this like Friday night good time. It's something people use to get through their day.
Yeah, people should use it to get through their days. It actually really helps as you get older. I tell you what, it really does help.
It does, man. All the things I've been doing, it went from trying not to be in jail to just trying to stay healthy.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't believe this. Headset data shows the price per gram of flower tumbled throughout 2021, dropping 14% from $6.78 in January to $5.82 in December in 6 adult use markets, as the firm tracks. That is so substantially cheap. That cannot even be Illinois numbers. I mean, you're still paying at a retail price of like $20 a gram pre-tax in Illinois.
I imagine if you average all the states, though, right? You got to look at Oregon as the baseline, essentially, to like how cannabis can be. Like until greed and all the other BS. I mean, there's still that in Oregon, but it's the way the market's construed and the way everything's being done out there. It still gives a lot of people a chance. There's no new players, but the ones there, have a, here in Washington, again, all these states that have no new players, it's a very cyclic market. Once you get your foot in there in branding.
Yeah, if you can get one of the licenses, that's good. But then you have to be able to get one of those licenses. That's where you get into some problems. But there's some more news that goes on in that. Guess what's growing? Pre-roll sales. Go figure. Everybody. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Convenience. People buy convenience.
Well, I think what we're seeing is the shaping of the cannabis consumer. Some people are like, prefer pre-rolls. You're going to see a rise in like probably cartridges. The same people who are experiencing pre-rolls are going to be experiencing like, okay, I'm tired of pre-rolls. Let's do the vapes. It'll be a very until the culture as a whole, because each state is finding out different things. Dabs have been a thing out here in Washington State for like goddamn 10 years, but the fact that it's still like a thing that people get excited about. Like I remember that high school excitement, how people feel like, holy crap, we're doing dabs and no one's getting arrested. And each state still kind of knocking them down like dominoes.
Yeah, I don't remember dabs or vape pens prior to medical cannabis being a thing in Illinois. And I got my card in 2017. So about 5 years ago. Were they a thing? Probably. Maybe in these states, because this is what the data came from. California, Colorado, Michigan, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington State. So those are very developed market. I mean, the newest one in there is Nevada, and they have over 730 licenses. So they have a lot more licenses than the state of Illinois and more availability. Colorado, Washington, Michigan, California, Oregon, those are like the real OGs of legal and medical cannabis. And that the prices there are quite reasonable.
Well, as I was saying, like, these are markets that are
mature,
like
mature market.
Yes.
And then even though that's a mature market, there was an increase of 11.5% in flower sales. But the total overall sales numbers increased 18%. So what's the growth of the industry, even in established like states where, oh my gosh, we missed the boat in Oregon or in Michigan or in Colorado? Well, combined, those states sold 18% more marijuana products last year and about 12% more marijuana flower. So, I mean, the price is going down, as they said. Yeah. The price went down from $6.78 a gram to $5.82 a gram, but sales are going up.
In those mature markets, you also have mature consumers, people who are more aware of what's going on, and unfortunately, until we get home grow, and that will be the one that you can say, okay, now I think legalization is almost here. But Washington State, we've gone just now in our 4th year. That damn home grow bill sat in committee again, like just died again. Yep. The reason why I know the appropriation committee just met yesterday, and because of the legislative process, it won't be seen again. 6 months. I don't know when the appropriation committee meets again. Hey, thanks, Digital.
The federal government's scheduled to run out of money in about 2 weeks, so we should see something besides the CR pretty quickly. I don't know when.
Well, and that's the thing, dude. Because and this is why I'm bagging on like the Republicans and shit. Like as far as like politics, and I bring up like all the wacky do stuff that they be supporting right now. Chillinois shared this. Did you see their Instagram the other day?
I see their Instagram mostly every day.
So did you see this one here with McConnell's opening statements at C-SPAN?
No. Let's get the idiocy and let's all watch something really stupid.
Let me. I gotta remove it because this time I gotta share the audio.
Yes, share that audio.
I defaulted the no audio because I like to stay safe.
I wanted to give a shout out to the super sticker guy, Digital Revolution. He gave us a super sticker.
Appreciate all that and love and the proceeds and
for hanging out.
We'll get legalization one day.
One day.
But here we go.
And then we won't be muted.
Yeah, seriously though. All right, let me make sure the volume's up. All right, here we go.
This marijuana banking. China has been steadily building up its military and economic might, and the Democrats' answer is to help Americans get high. Drug overdoses on fentanyl just became the leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 45 across our entire country. Much of this poison pours into our country from, of course, China. And Democrats plan to combat this.
This is all regards to safe banking.
Wait, is this just one of his pauses?
Marijuana.
That's what that was for a second.
Yeah. Needless to say, this is not a winning strategy for global competition between great powers. So
thank God. Thank God it's 420 somewhere, everybody. Smoke them if you got them, because Mitch McConnell is stuck as the past of the past. Thanks for sticking around and joining us, and hopefully you enjoyed that 420 somewhere. Mitch McConnell is a terrible, terrible person. Maybe this year will be the last time that he's in the Senate. I'm not sure if he's up for re-election, but if he is, and you're coming at us from Kentucky where he is, please vote him out. That's our request. Just humbly vote him out. It would be wonderful. He was just talking about Chinese competitiveness and cannabis usage and saying that this is the exact same thing that they said, Dick Nixon, against hippies for the Vietnam War. Really? That's how we beat Russia? We get a whole bunch of hippies high? Really? And the same argument 50 odd years later. being made by a Republican, just mentioning that I'm just not trying to get political here. I'm just mentioning he was a Republican from Kentucky, saying stuff that was completely wrong. And then he was tying cannabis to what? Opioid deaths and calling them both drugs. Holy crap. Nothing's changed in 50 years. Wait, nothing's changed in 50 years? I got to go bet on the Bears to win 1985 Super Bowl.
Nice, dude. That's a perfect stand-up shtick, dude. Because I mean, for real though, and I know you say you don't want to get political, but this is how we got here. Politics, right? And honestly, I'm at the point. I'm so tired of all the BS that's been happening because I'm an independent. I know you're registered as a Democrat, whatever. So I can talk. I feel I can talk shit on both sides, right? But like at this moment in time, the R's have gone full R, right? Like there's this whole like crazy BS that. I don't think we're going to get shit done federally because of this talk, because of McConnell's talk. This was about the Safe Banking Act, right? This is their intro of their distraction, okay? This is what they're going to negotiate off of the their way of negotiating, right? They're going to cut marijuana off again because they villainized it. It's not going to, this is just straight BS that these people, there is nothing that they are trying to do for the greater good, right? And that's what the politics I like to lean on. It's like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to benefit the most people? And right now, the R's don't have any policy that I've seen to recognize and say, okay, I identify with you. I don't make over six figures. It'd be nice. But if I did, even then I would be like, I'm willing to give back to my community and do things for my fellow man. Whereas, talk like this, it's not going to legalization. I don't think it's going to happen until each state has a policy in place, dude. Like every state.
Legalization is because the industry goes a lot slower than you'd really like it to. That's the problem.
Well, I want people free, man.
Well, me too. I want people free, and I want people to be able to apply for, get a license, and open for business, and then make of the good flowers. But that takes time, and so
But like for Paul, I know, but politics though, right? Like, say, like we say, as an independent, as someone who's like just wants like America, right? Like, I really do want all Americans to continue on. And both sides say that, right? Both sides say, oh, we want America to be thriving. But yet you got this wackadoo. Their diversion is the whole China BS. And then China's jerking off Russia. Like, can we not be on the same side about what we need to be doing?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's Cold War 2.0. It's going to be way better than Cold War 1.0. This time we'll make all the stuff here.
I just don't. I get it. How are we in 2022 if some maniacal crazy dude wants to expand his land? Like this is why we're not going to have federal legalization because they're so busy with the like stopping the Cold War coming, or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's something else. It's something else. And then again, there's other state cannabis legalization news out of Oklahoma. Moving on to Oklahoma, there is the Oklahoma governor is now, and this is just from a couple days ago. He's saying voters misunderstood the medical marijuana bill measure they approved. And so
of course they did.
What does this mean? Like they misunderstood it. And so is this going to be the rollback starting in Oklahoma, one of the most open markets in the industry?
There's an address. He if you go scroll to the middle of the article, he gives an address. Let's listen to it.
Let's go for it. All right.
Let's hear this fucking BS about how voters didn't understand what they're going for or who they, what they want.
The state question was misleading, and it has tied our hands as we regulate the industry.
Misleading and tied their hands.
That state question. Oklahoma charges just $2,500 for a commercial license. Even
That's it.
California,
$2,500.
To $181,000, 72 times more. As a result, we have 7 times the growers in California with just 10% of the people.
Yep.
Next door in Arkansas, they have 8 growers.
Volume is too low. People are saying the volume's too low. And so he's talking about how growers are just terrible.
Yeah.
Product, where's the product going? He's saying it's not being sold legally.
But what he's bitching about right here is Oklahomans being successful. He's bitching about successful people who are paying taxes, like a whole industry.
Out-of-state special interest groups is what he's blaming it on. Oh, the people love it. And by the people, I mean the Republican legislature of Oklahoma loved that. And so is this something that's going to start trying to put the genie back into the bottle in states like Oklahoma that are open? And then what are they going to do? They're going to go straight over to New Mexico, bro, and they're going to start growing there.
I'm telling you, Vanilla ISIS is coming for you. Like that, it's crazy. Like that weird how they just stood and cheered like that. Like what a cult. Like where on a doll did it hurt you?
Yeah,
Like,
excuse me. We're going to have Dr. Von Nostrand come in, and you can show him on the doll. Where did it touch you? Yes.
Like what? Why?
Please
Like
show
why
me
is
on the
it?
cannabis doll where you touched it.
There we go. Yes,
Right.
we need this.
We do. We need that's. We'll get a doctor to show like where cannabis touched him. Where did this touch you, Mitch McConnell?
With bullshit like that, I need that as a support plant. It's an emotional support plant.
I heard that. I heard that going around in the meme verse, the emotional support plant of cannabis.
Yes, sir.
Let's kind of try to unpack it a little bit. He's directing law enforcement, he's directing law enforcement to crack down hard on the black market, adding that drug cartels, organized crime, foreign actors have no place in the state of Oklahoma, aka regulations coming soon for one of the most open states in the nation.
Foreign actors. First, you're going to see a lot of arrests of brown people.
Well, we're going to see.
Saying.
We're going to see, though, like they're going to probably have new rules and regs coming to Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma, how do you put that? Because there's like so many growers, there's so many license holders there. They have to have a very verbose, trade lobby association established already.
That's what I was gonna go with. It's like, so Oklahoma, we got it wrong in Washington because the medical didn't stick together. And I heard about Oklahomans out there, the market. And, it's like I said, in the early days of Washington, I used to drive around before I go into a market or a dispensary. I drive around looking for extra cars because, there's still fucking bullshit going on through 2011. Mm-hmm. But like Oklahoma, they're not so much like that. They're more like that with out of staters as far as like joining the market, coming in. But the politicians, that's where it's at, man. The lobbyists and the laws and the coalitions,
also like they wanted the money. Like, what was he talking about? And so that you can go into that aspect of the story. It's like, while fees in California can enter six figures depending on revenue licenses are receiving, the fee for a retailer making up to $500,000 in gross revenue is also $2,500. So it has to depend on how much money the state is taking from the license holders. So what's the amount of taxes that these sales are generating? It becomes easier to see how much is being grown if you actually track it. But Oklahoma doesn't even really have a standardized track and trace regulatory framework, from my understanding.
No, they don't. And I think you're right. I think that's exactly what they want. So I thought the market was going to be safe for a while because they do pay taxes, right? There are rules established in their medical market to pay taxes like you guys did. But I mean, maybe they want to tax more. Maybe they want to increase it and tax like the grower, the store, the shippers. There's a whole level of money there, a whole lot of money.
James Christ, you see how he's got that little symbol right there? That means that he's a member. And so members, we can see when they ask questions. This sounds like a rhetorical question, to be honest. It says 70% of the people wanting legislation of cannabis, what happened to majority rule? Your vote counts? Question marks. I'm assuming those are rhetorical because no, there's no such thing as majority rule. We have an electoral college that decides things. And then, of course, we have the Supreme Court. And then you also have governors that are like, you know what? I don't feel like having this be the law no more. I think our voters were mistaken. And so now they're going to have new regs or something, or they'll pass legislative reform to change the industry into what they want.
Well, you're lucky that governor didn't want to sue. There's that. There's governors who sue against the voters. Like, how you got this wrong, I'm looking at you, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm. Looking at you, South Dakota. This is one of the reasons why I do not think that cannabis legalization will be here prior to 2024.
Again,
exactly why I don't.
Not federally. Not federally until they can get their shit together and agree that fair elections happen. And for the most part, we're all Americans. We're all on the same page. The only issue that I see divides people is the abortion issue. And that's where this strategic weird ass vanilla ISIS is clicking over and figuring out how to like judges and stuff, right? There's a whole, but politics, again, this is why we're here. Somebody had it for minorities and whatnot to control population that was just a small amount of people in America, and they were consumers. And later on, the hippies and other open-minded people decided, hey, this plant doesn't fuck you up the way we thought we was. And then they're like, no, I don't like you.
Yeah, it's terrible, and it looks like they're rolling it back. And so, fight for your rights, people of Oklahoma, and continue to vote it to be lawful in an open market.
Please register, vote,
Yeah.
stay on top of things. That's how these guys get you, right? They beat you down with this bullshit like, your vote don't count or the process is convoluted. But you know what?
That's
Try.
the thing. Your vote counts, and then that's the
It
thing,
does.
but a lot of people don't care about weed. They just don't, and so it makes it a more trivialized or easily to condone issue, and kind of like sweep it aside. And that's another reason why I think that it's not going to be federally legal until at least after 2024, maybe 2026. Maybe we got another 4 more years to hoe,
At least.
which is it's going to be rough.
But it's up to people who like South Carolina. Shout out to South Carolina, one of our viewers. She's out there in lobby days. I got some pictures of normal pamphlets educating people. This is how we get further than we were. It is fun and games. Cannabis is a beautiful and fun plant. It is all fun, but it's not when it comes to law. It's not when it comes to the way things should be in this world where everybody should have an equal footing and stuff. And at the same time, we got stock news where people are freaking breaking it.
Oh my goodness. Should we get to the stock news, or should we play some Name That Strain first? What do you think?
That's cool. It's halftime. Do a little Name That Strain.
Name That Strain. That's a more fun one. Today's is coming at you from High Times Magazine. So let me get a bumper on there, and I can pull up and try to cover the name of it. I'll cover the name of it. That's it. All right. Some Name That Strain. Okay, let's see here. Let me see if I can just grab myself and then go there and then put that.
My bad, I hit that button.
All right, well, you can describe the strain then, and I'll just put it up and that's it.
Oh, there we go.
Name that strain.
Oh, that's a pretty little strain. All right. It's a little shiny from the gloss in the magazine.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to do my best on that, but
forest hues. The garden next to it. I forgot how sexy High Times was. I really did. They take some
got
really nice
centerfolds.
shots.
It's got a centerfold, but not that one. We're doing this one. Right.
I like the
Name
music
that
too in the
strain.
background. There's a little bounce chicka wow wow.
Yep. We have that going. We turned on the feeding the ducks. And so that's that strain. I'm going to go ahead and Google it so that we can go talk about another news story. Do we have something besides the stock news? Because we just hit a bump.
Oh, I got a one that we can do on the side, like a different
Cool.
one, like an extra. I have to. I didn't go through all the show notes because we're going live in like 2 minutes, and so. Did you hear about that Texas cop that vape confiscated vape weed on a cruiser?
Didn't hear about a Texas cop with the vape weed.
Jungle Bros shared it on their thing, and so I found the YouTube article. This lawyer right here, you just Google David Sloan, Texas cop vape confiscated vape weed. This motherfucker, for years, there's a let's see if I can stop on the right part, but they're right here. So it was a main throughway through Texas, right? Texas is a scary state to cut through.
It is.
It's always been for me because it's so big and never ending, and the law is not on your side. They assume everybody's a smuggler that's cutting through the main highways.
But very few people are smugglers by and large. I mean, that's kind of the wrong default to adopt.
Not when you're looking for you're a road pirate. Not if you're somebody that's gonna take all that funding into your city. Now that's what it's all about right here. This guy was a main road pirate that this cop, his name is this lawyer David Sloan is the one that discovered this video, but this cop, his name is Chad of all people. Chad. No, shout out to Chad. Let's for it. We know you're good.
Yeah.
But
not all the good Chads in the game, but
yes. But this Chad Harden, this police officer, this Texas department was pirating freaking weed, confiscating shit, and collecting. This enables prohibition enables bad policing. And again, just another example of how that does.
Yep.
But
freaking annoying, isn't it? Yeah. Well, let's look at it one more time before we get back into it. Here it is. Yeah. One more. I'm gonna get there. That name that strain right there. It looks like it's fairly fresh. Not quite. Maybe it hasn't even been picked. I mean, it still has growing pistillate, so I'd say it's probably it's in late flower. I like
Oh, there's
pictures
an
of
article
weed and
there.
late flower. It's great. Then the high times, that's why you buy it, because it's got pictures of weed in it.
Yes. Well, I am there.
Yeah.
Is it good now? Are they
All right.
better?
Well, let me check and see if there's been any guesses on that strain's name.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
see
just pulling
here.
up the other articles.
People are blaming propaganda. Let's see. Humboldt frosting. Somebody's trying. White chocolate tie. Nope, not white chocolate tie. White diamond. Lamb's breath. Vanilla frosting. Kush cake. Lamb's breath. Iceberg lettuce. Grape Vape. Gorilla glue. Liberal think tank. That would be a terrible strain. Like, this one is like the most pretentious flavor. Anyway,
I want everybody to be equal.
yeah, right. Right. And so this is a classic strain, and it is Cheetah Piss. That was a picture of Cheetah Piss, a trifecta of quality strains from Growing Passion and Cookies Fam. Cheetah Piss crosses Lemonade, Gelato 42, and London Pound Cake 97. While the name is an homage to a famous old school strain, Cat Piss, there isn't much in common when it comes to the highs. As far as the terpene profile, Cheetah Piss is funky just like Cat Piss, reminding consumers of those strains with weird, uncommon qualities. So there you go. It says its dominant one is caryophyllene. Flavor and aroma is pungent, and it has like a picture of garlic. Skunk.
Does it smell
flowery.
garlicky?
What's that?
Does it smell garlicky? It's funny. Sometimes I don't recognize, I don't look at strains when I buy them. I'm just walking. I'm like, I want an indica. They know what I want most of the time.
Mhm.
Average price. And I had this blackberry blueberry shit the other day, and as I was smelling, like, this smells just like berries. And then I look at the name. I'm like, no shit.
Yeah, there's some very good flavors of berries and fruit like that are out there in certain genetics. It's rare to find those genetics with the supply constraints that we have in Illinois. And so, like, if I wanted to get some berries, you'd have to ask the person like what they have, and then look at their parents. And by that I mean the plant's parents, just to see if it would have it. But yeah, Daga Doctor, Cheetah Piss, nice. He must be experienced with the Cheetah Piss.
Right on. Oh shit! I gotta answer a phone call real quick.
Well, you answer a phone call. I'll see what the next story is that we can do. We could do stocks. We could also try to pretend that we are talking to Miggy on the phone. This is a good one. But it's not the trending one. That one's over there, the trending one. I'll do stocks, and I'll be right back because we have a stock bumper. Where is it? Where did the stock bumper go? Well, now I found it. Cannabis platform Leafly is closing with a merger with a SPAC and going public on the NASDAQ. A SPAC is a specific purpose acquisition company, I think. And it's one of the methods that they've used to go public. Very often SPACs just crash mercilessly. And the best example of this is probably the parent company. It listed at $10 and sold off to $1. So we'll have to see how the Leafly thing will be. Miggy is joining us again. Miggy, we're just excited to report that Leafly will be joining the NASDAQ as it has gone public with a special purpose acquisition company. That's right. There it is. This means SPAC. Media Corp number one. And that's another nice thing that they do, is when they have private equity, you usually have what they call portfolio companies, and they'll end up having very clever names like Merger Corp 1. This is the Seattle-based Leafly, and it is going to trade on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol LFLY, Leafly. Leafly was also the company that we used to research our Name That strain for Cheetah Piss.
No, congrats to those guys. In the early days of the internet, when all these people were trying to get their brands and things going, Leafly and Weed Maps both had visions that were quite, corporate, which, was not the way that most people saw things. That, again, all these things are just websites, right? Facebook's just a website, YouTube's just a website. And then as technology gets better, it becomes an app, it becomes a thing but in the beginning, it was just a website. And so happy to hear about their success. I don't know the people, not anybody associated with them. They're always funding a lot of things like HempFest and doing things like that. So cool. What else we got going on?
That's a good one. That's a good one. People don't care, and they're probably just start enforcing things
For vapes.
Yeah, and so there's that. Anyway, it's going to be going public. And then let's talk about Leafly's valuation. The company said it's going to be valued at roughly $385 million with an equity value of $532 million. The vote was delayed to proposed merger on January 14th, delayed until February 1st. And then a pitch for mjbiz.com. Leafly said it's experiencing strong growth in retail accounts, revenue, and profit margins, and introduced a new tool since the merger was announced, including enhanced iPad applications enabling users to place pickup orders.
Neat.
Yoto Michiyashi is going to continue as the CEO of Leafly.
You know, I like Leafly because they do a lot of scientific stuff too. They invest in. They were going to do that one. Because a lot of stuff don't catch on right away, but the concepts do. And they had that like circle talking about how like one day we're gonna like not go into stores and get like Blue Dream or Banana Funk. It's gonna be, can I get this terpene profile or that's gonna be, like
I don't know about that.
Wow.
What did they call the shit back in 1969 when the hippies were smoking it?
Weed.
Like killer weed.
Yeah.
I mean, I always remember Phil Lesh being like, "Oh man, we have some killer weed," and I'm like, "So is that what you guys called the stuff then? Was that like the Perps of 1968 was just called killer bud or killer weed?"
Well, I think that with that thing that's being referenced is just good weed, right? Like good cannabis is hard to grow. I mean, cannabis is easy to grow, but good cannabis that it's been cared for, cured, it takes time. It takes knowledge. It's not something you can just go out and be like, all right, I'm gonna get the best. Kind Bud's a good one.
Yeah.
That's another
Kind
one.
Bud, that goes way back. But that's one of the things. They were like the one that Black Tuna, the Black Tuna game, the Santa Marta Gold for the Columbia or the Panama Gold, whatever he was bringing in that became the basis for the strain that he still hustles for True Leaf in Florida with the Silver Tuna Tour. That one, I think it was Santa Marta Gold, was the one that he had, and he was bringing in from Colombia. But that's like almost more strain lineage name specific.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, how much do you really know about whatever strain a lot of these people get because of the whole prohibition? I know a guy, an old smuggler, who's got a suitcase, these bags full of some are seeds, some are just pieces of plant like genetics that he sampled. Like he was a person like that. He figured one day the technology would catch up, and it has. He's been reached out to through the Philos Project. But I think profiles could be a thing, but that's gonna be a thing for the more advanced consumer, right? The more bougie person. For me, I'm just like sativa, indica, and then I like to be surprised by each time I open the jar and you get like the whiff, and you're like, oh, this could be a nice little one. Or you're like,
well, there's just a wide berth. I mean, this purple banana is like really, really fruity and uppy. And so then there's like the slurricane that's like more peppery and like almost just relaxing. And then it depends on where you're at and what you're going for. And so if you want some Hindu Kushes for sleep and sedation and pain medical relief, that's great. But what I really am going to get is some Willie Nelson seed because that has the best terpenoline kind of like punch in the face. And so it's one of my go-to daytime cannabises if I had it,
No, yeah, you have a small selection. It's still just a Wild West out here. That don't work so well. But and then we got more weed map stories.
Do we have more weed? Oh, wait a second. That's not a weed map story just yet, but it is. That one is our trending story of the week. So what else do we have before we get to the trending story of the week? We can wrap on that one, There's a DEA backlash story. That's pretty cool in federal news. Did you see that one at the end there?
Yes.
DEA is facing backlash over proposed scheduling of 5 psychedelic compounds.
Oh, acid.
Yep.
Let's see.
So what are these 5 compounds they're trying to change? Let's see. 4-O-dipit, 5-ME. Okay, I don't know what we have to have a chemist come on and explain what these are. Ban of
yeah,
5
stuff we don't.
tryptamines. I don't know what those are either.
I don't know any of this, but this could be just new. I've heard of different new drugs out there that
They're
I saw
trying to
kids.
schedule one more psychedelics.
Well, there's, it's weird to me that these guys are still trying to cover, because there are designer laws already out there. There already are designer drug laws. So why are we chasing after these different components? Why are we trying to legalize certain things here? Like,
I don't know. That's one of those. I like the absurdity argument that they use in advocating for their positions. Who is the person that is the neuroscientist and CEO of the pharma tech company Takagen? I believe that's who is providing this quote. Another says, who's the another? When you're trying to find quotes like that, it's just the easiest if you could clairvoyantly know who said this. The DEA? Is this the DEA spokesperson from the HHS?
they need to worry more about the prescribed drugs than you have to worry about the, new shit coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I just think these are a waste of time. Like,
right.
Who are you?
Well, I just like this quote. I just would like to know who said it. It says, like, these substances should not be scheduled. It was a waste of time and my tax money to pursue something that it has one documented death nearly 18 years ago. Mind you, the article does not detail why it occurred. More people have been killed by shaking vending machines, 37, yet there is no movement to ban vending machines.
There should be.
Yeah,
you know what?
It's one of those absurd, like this regulation is absurd argument. I'm not sure who made that, though. A person who identifies themselves as a military veteran. That's probably who it was.
Somebody trying to save lives.
Well, there is that.
Dumb waste of argument.
Safe banking?
Yeah, the safe banking is still there. Passed, 6 times out of the House?
Passes 6 times out of the House, and it's still going to get out of the House, but then it's going to go straight over to the Senate, where we saw Mitch McConnell earlier today blahing the same lame, false 50 years ago arguments that they used literally 50 years ago. It's going to make you all into people that can't compete with China, and so now it's China that we need to compete with as opposed to Russia, like it was last time. He also was conflating it with opioids. He was saying, like, cannabis is to get them high, and then say opioids. Oh, dude, yeah, there's one. Panama Red. That's an old school name.
These distractions are so, like, we're better than this, Republicans. Like, find new shit. Like there's the like the audit bullshit. Like, how many millions were wasted on Arizona audits and all the other audits? Like, you're just wasting so much money and time, but yet you're supposed to be the conservative ones with the adults. Like, when I was growing up as a kid, I always thought, like, these guys were all like just fiscal conservatives and bankers and rich, well-to-do. Nah, you're just a bunch of like vanilla ISIS. That's all I see. I just see fucking people wanting to push their agenda because God. That's all I see.
Because God.
Because God.
Because Jesus and I are tight.
Yeah, I mean, like, everyone's got their interpretation, but I gotta tell you how to live.
Right. Excuse me, I am a professional at living. I've been doing it literally my whole life, and I'm here to tell you how to also do it.
Yeah, I just gonna tell you how you're wrong and I'm right. And
all right, wait, you are also rubber, yet I am glue. Oh wait, no, I wanted to be rubber in this situation because I don't want things sticking to me. I want to be unstick-withable. So glue is very sticky. Oh man, children's rhymes. I'm so glad that we learned those when we were like 3, because then, like, you're gonna get 30, 40 years down the road and be like, man, nothing changes. What the hell?
Like, become rappers, because I see homophobia and xenophobia. That's all I see. I don't see fucking real change of problems, man, but answers.
But technology gets better. That's the cool thing. I like that. I'm gonna work out in the metaverse now.
But the only time they all get together and people get together is like for money. So here you go in New York, right here. New York regulators crack down on business gifting.
Yeah, business gifting, which is rampant in New York State, has started to get its crackdown. And so how do you put the genie back in the bottle when you have like Uncle Bud's in downtown New York that have a food truck being a retail dispensary of cannabis? Well, eventually things start changing. But,
you get power. you give power to some entity, right? So like here in America, it can't be a
They just sent
based on-
letters to them. So imagine that you're just illegally dealing weed, and then you get a letter from the regulator going, hey, if you want to keep doing this, you're going to need a license, and you're jeopardizing your chances of getting that license. And so I tell people that. They're like, well, how come they're doing it? I'm like, oh, that's easy. They're either completely embracing any shred of the gray market they can say. It's like, well, this is a gray area. Or they're just going right past it, and they're going like, you mean they're just not enforcing it? All right.
I just think it's unfortunate that this could hurt people in the present industry. Like, there's no other industry, there's no other thing out there that has people like me that have been like saying, "Hey, let's get the law right." There's no other thing, and the people who are presently doing business out there, are in, the farmers, the gardeners, right? This plant has created entrepreneurship from the beginning, and those are the pioneers for their area because they've been the market. They've supplied the plant, and these now authorities that are taking over, it's a slap in the face. This is what happened in California and Washington. Oregon. I think the reason why the prices are so cheap is because they listen to there's some semblance of talking. Oregon, Portland just put a bunch of money to minorities for like big businesses. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but I saw an article, about them, whatever. But cannabis does give a chance. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but it's the double standard. It's the prejudice. It's really there, and that was our trending story of the week. It really blew up and was everywhere a couple of days ago. And so let's get to that one. It's kind of relevant. Well, actually, it's the competitor to Leafly had a very relevant story. We'll get to that here in just a second. Cannabis legalization news. Weed Maps has rejected another Super Bowl TV commercial, according to NBC report. And Weed Maps was rejected for a Super Bowl broadcast. Have you seen this video going around? They didn't even have a link to it. Oh, that's quite annoying. You didn't see it? Maybe this will have the link to the video. Yeah, the broccoli.
Oh, that was the video?
So this is a picture of the video. Trying to find the video has now led us to Ad Week. And
I got the video. It is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm an icon.
And then this is the video that they have released regarding broccoli, which can sometimes, Miggy's even used before to avoid censorship because of this issue. And I'm having some technical difficulties.
It's a great video to watch, though. I think, if you want a good chuckle, a good smile, I mean, the point made, I just felt like, what was it, a couple months ago, I did broccoli legalization news. They had a whole little, I'm not going to say cannabis because it's so effing dumb.
Right. And they can't. The answer was a hard no. They wouldn't even entertain the conversation. According to Weed Maps, the Irvine, California-based company, they had this 94-second advertisement on YouTube on Monday. Does that actually go to the YouTube video? Good. I'm actually surprised that this has only been viewed so far, just 9,262 views. But it's only been since the 7th of this month, and so it hasn't been going on that long. But still, Weed Maps is 205,000 subscribers. It's a way bigger channel than ours. And then it says "Save Brock Ali," and they've even misspelled broccoli's name, Brock Ali, to try to avoid the censors that we took. Let me just kind of scroll up like that. We talk about trying to avoid the censors all the time here on Cannabis Legalization News, and that's another example of it. And why is weed censored? It's great, Hey, come on our show.
For real though, and again, God forbid you humanize a cannabis consumer. God forbid you show someone just being normal, right? Because that's the kind of the running pun here is he'd walk past them and they'd be like, "Hey Jerry, going on break?"
Right.
I'm so tired of the stigma.
Right. You're right. But then that broccoli thing was trending, and then so they made this, to try to get on the Super Bowl, but it's also a splashy thing, and it's an example. And I bet this is going to happen every year
Yes.
until it's legal. Every year until we get one on TV. And so, like, I give them huge props and a shout out and like much
But
respect
meanwhile-
and maps on that. Yeah.
But meanwhile, our presidential election debates are brought to you by Anheuser-Busch.
Oh gosh. Yes. I'm not sure if our presidential debates are brought to you by it, but our evening news is brought to us by the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, like, watch the evening news. It's just going to be commercials for pharmaceutical drugs that you've never heard of before. Like, you can poop in a bag. I'm Cologuard. Yeah. Okay.
No, but the committee that whatever gets those debates and there is a committee out there. They're funded by Anheuser-Busch. That's one of the things that stuck out to me in the last debates when I was like, really? I can't wait till the day a weed company can be like, hey, this whatever.
Yep. That's one of the reasons why I'm trying to make a very you can't have a weed company sound like a weed company. So I'm going to call it Brax Agricultural Management. We're just an agricultural manager. That's all. Just a good old fashioned farm company.
Yeah, but it takes away, I think, from the culture, which you're deadening it. You're making things numb, and we just want equity. We want equality. We don't want to dumb it down, even though it seems like things are dumbed down. It's what's dumbed down is what's popular already.
Yeah, it's pretty
What they
bad.
allow.
So this is Miggy's final thoughts on another classic episode of Cannabis Legalization News. Any parting words, Miggy, that you think that the viewers and the listeners at home need to hear about cannabis?
I would say your vote counts, and everything counts. That's it. Get out there, and no one belongs in jail for plant. It's all redundant. I don't ever have an elevator pitch because that's the moment you really want to break down crying, because this thing is so effed up and it's so egregious and so hard to put in words that, hey, there's this horrendous thing. People are losing time that's never can made up. Lance lost. He didn't get to see his daughter graduate high school. Didn't get to see his daughter graduate college. Like, I couldn't imagine missing these things on my kids' lives. The first grandkid or whatever happens next. These life events these guys are losing on. Women, men, Americans.
Sucks. Well, we did it. We spent another wonderful hour. And if you guys need anything about getting into the cannabis industry, head on over to cannabisindusтрylawyer.com and get in touch with us. Big shout out to all the members, because they really go to help us, come back, and we get shekels, like about $200 a month. And then, Wednesday, I think we should do the news. On Sunday, maybe we would try to do the guests, because people keep trying to come on the show, as opposed to the one like last week. Screw that guy. But then, other people like Chad, we can get Chad on the show and do the same type of thing where we can talk about cannabis cultivation and growing.
Yeah, hit us up. Even send me an email. Say hi. Go to Discord. Oh, where's the Discord?
Go to the Discord. Plug the Discord.
Yeah. Oh, wrong one.
Okay, well, stick with us while he plugs the Discord for just a minute. Plugging the Discord yet?
No, because I got into the music.
Okay.
No, it's actually booting up. Give me a second. I got the share thingy. Invite people. So this link, I want to make it so it never expires. So if you're watching this video in 20,000 billion, you can hopefully use it, and we'll be dead, but
Yep. Hopefully the future is not the barren dystopian thing that I was promised with robots and lasers. Hopefully it's a lot more fun than that. We'll find
pandemics.
out. What?
So pandemics don't have zombies, so I mean, I'm a little disappointed already.
Well, shout out to the members. See you next time, everybody.
Where are the zombies?
The zombies are still coming. You have to wait until 2027. That's the earliest they can conceivably be here.
Oh my goodness. Where's legalization?